Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus and welcome to another analysis video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. So on the agenda tonight, we're going to be taking a look at Pearl Jam and we'll have a look at 3 performances of Scared of Fear. And I've been asked whether this is pitch corrected or anything's been done to the vocals, all that kind of stuff. So hence why we're going to be taking a look at 3 separate performances. As always, links are in the description below in case you guys want to watch these performances without me interrupting them and pointing things out. We're going to start with the first official performance of this song as it is labelled on the YouTube video. So we will jump into this. We have Eddie Vedder's vocal isolated so we can have a look at what's going on in this particular performance. Let's have a listen.
Or did I say something wrong? Or did I walk out a step? To you do I still belong? Do I have to be scared? Oh, I'm not saying I know. It's all feeling unclear. We all had control. I surrender to you, dear. You're hurting yourself. It's plain to see. I think you're hurting yourself just to hurt me.
And I'm going to jump in here because with this performance, it's undoubtedly fully live, totally unedited. And the reason why that is rare nowadays is because this is the official first performance of this particular song. So in the modern day music industry, especially with new releases or first performances of songs, it's the industry standard to pitch correct, to edit the vocals, to get them closer to these lines or put them over the top of these lines. So the fact that this isn't I mean, it's amazing from a musical standpoint as well as being refreshing because Pearl Jam have just released this and it's them performing fully live.
Or did I walk out a step? To you do I still belong? Do I have to be scared? Oh, I'm not saying I know. It's all feeling unclear. We all have control. I surrender to you, dear. You're hurting yourself. It's plain to see. I think.
And the great thing about this is where you hear Eddie's vocal and just his natural tendency to be quite loose, not only with phrasing, but with the little tail offs that he has at the end of his vocal lines. And this is just a totally unique trait to him and the way that he sings. And this is why it's great that it's been left alone. This kind of thing where, you know, Eddie is accurate, but these things just pop in and out. And here, again, really accurate with that D4, but all we have to do is listen to it for a second. And then you get this kind of thing. And it's the exact opposite of going, ah, and being really strict with it. It's almost like just an exhalation while navigating that vocal melody. So yeah, just a totally unique thing that Eddie does.
Can I get you alone?
And there, that alone, the D4, we're basically between notes there, but absolutely unedited. All of this has been left as it was, and this is Eddie's voice going into the microphone and we're hearing it. Usually, nowadays, there is so much that gets in the way of that you don't hear the actual voice that was produced. So this is really refreshing to see the first official performance of this song, and it's totally live, totally unedited. So now we're going to jump over to a performance from The Howard Stern Show, and generally what happens on these kinds of shows and radio shows that are live, they can be post-edited with pitch correction. And we have had on the Howard Stern Show before, it was Charlie Puth who was using auto-tune, but he's quite open about that, so it wasn't as if he was trying to hide it in any way. But let's have a listen to this.
Or did I say something wrong? Or did I walk out the step? Do you, do I still belong? Do I have to be scared?
And here we have it again. Absolutely 100% live and an unedited vocal. And I know that I'm seeming surprised. It's because I am. Because we are looking at recent performances. I'm wondering whether Pearl Jam, being the band that they are and having their very particular sound, whether they say that they don't want their performances to be edited in any way, because that's exactly what we're listening to. They might even have that in writing so that it is agreed upon that they are going to play and they are going to sound how they sound, and that's the end of it, because that's what we're looking at so far. Let's just let this play on.
Oh, I'm not saying I know, I'm just feeling unclear. We all like control, I surrender to you, dear. You're hurting yourself, it's plain to see. I think you're hurting yourself to hurt me. We used to laugh, we used to sing.
And even there, that we used to laugh, the backing vocal that came in, live backing vocals, live lead vocal, and we can hear now, when we start getting into this chorus, we've got this na 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 na. You know, we're quite strict with the melody now, but obviously that's a necessity for that harmony vocal to come in and for those to work together. But it's still just the sound of Eddie's voice. What I will say is that when you've watched a band like this perform live and totally unedited in scenarios where they could absolutely have had some editing done to their sound, and they haven't done that, when you go and watch them live, there's absolutely no way. I mean, the probability of them then turning up and using, you know, backing tracked or lip syncing or, you know, auto-tune live, the chances are absolutely, you know, zero. I was going to say minimal, but you just wouldn't have it, because if there were any editing to be done, we would have seen it already on, you know, not only the official performance, but the Howard Stern show. So let's have a listen to this.
Or did I say something wrong? That did I walk out of step? Do you, do I still belong? Do I have to be scared?
And, of course, totally live vocal. I'll bring in the instrumentation.
Is there something I know? It's all feeling unclear. Yeah, we all like control, I surrender to you, dear.
And it's amazing. The consistency in Eddie's voice, because he's just doing what he does. Imagine the alternative where you've seen performances of this song and the vocal has been calibrated to a 440 standard pitch equal temperament, so it sounds exact and mechanical and Eddie's just perfectly on the lines all the time, and then you watch a live performance and it will sound like it's a totally different personality, because that's exactly what you're hearing. You're now hearing a human's voice rather than a voice that has been calibrated by a computer processor. So I'm just going to let this play on a little bit more.
You're hurting yourself, it's plain to see. I think you're hurting yourself to hurt me. We used to laugh, we used to sing, we used to dance, we had our own scene. Hurting yourself, it's plain to see. I think you're hurting yourself just to hurt me. We used to laugh, we used to sing, we used to dance, we used to believe.
Yeah, I'm just jumping in here because a really important point that I want to make is about authenticity, artistry, and consistency. So, when you go and watch Pearl Jam live, they're not going to be edited and they're going to sound exactly how they sound. And if we're looking at all three of these performances, if I get them on screen next to each other, I guarantee you from one performance to the next, you're not going to be able to tell, oh, that one sounded different to the other two, or, you know, or this one to that one. When you're comparing them, they sound the same, but the same frequencies aren't being hit. by Eddie in every performance, but his personality is consistent. And that's how what we're listening to is being processed by our ears and our brains. We're taking in the personality of the vocalist. Therefore, if the vocalist is not edited, if it's just his voice, it means that we're hearing his personality across all three performances. So the consistency artistically is as high as it can be, because all you're ever going to hear is what we've heard three times, because it's live, it's totally unedited, and this is kind of how it used to work. I say kind of, it definitely did. Used to work like this 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago, where you would get the same consistent personality from the band, and you would get an identity in their sound. You get that personal connection in real time with the artist, because it is just them singing and there's nothing getting in the way between their voice and your ears. And it's exactly the same with these performances. This is old school. This is just turning up, playing, and not doing anything to it and just leaving it as it is. If you're judging this on an artistic scale, you can say, well, they are absolutely doing what they do, so artistically the integrity is as high as it can be. Whether you like their music or not, it doesn't really matter, because they are doing what they do, and then everybody as a subjective viewer or listener can then decide whether they like it or not, and will decide whether to listen or not. But you're getting an authentic product. You're getting the authentic identity of the band when you listen to them perform live, whether you're there in person or if you're watching one of their live performances. So it is refreshing, like I said earlier, to see this kind of thing, because there are certainly options that would have been open. They're open to everybody. It reminds me of a video that I did recently on U2, and this was requested because somebody was thinking about going to watch them live, and they wanted to know what the live setup was and what they would be paying their money for. So we had a look at U2 performing a couple of performances, and it was totally live. So I know that that's important to some people, that they want to know what they're paying their money for. And the great thing about live performances, even in that case, they were playing to a click track, but the two performances still went out of sync ever so slightly, and Bono interacted with the crowd for a longer time on one night than he did on another night. So you get all of these spontaneous things that can happen when you're watching a band fully live. And again, that's a part of the experience that I think a lot of people value. So getting back to Pearl Jam, with that point in mind, I want to play all three performances that we've looked at the same time, so you can get an appreciation of what I mean when you have a truly live performance and them not syncing up at all. And we're just going to listen to the isolated vocal here. Let's have a listen.
Or did I see something wrong? Or did I walk upstairs? Do you have to belong? Do I have to be scared?
So I think everyone would agree that that doesn't sound like the same voice three times over. And it really does highlight what I say about some other performances where the vocal is exactly the same. You cannot tell any difference from, left to right to center, as I have panned performances before, and they are identical. When you're listening to that kind of thing, it's the same vocal that's happening. But if I just let it play through. So that's what happens when you get truly live performances. It is just going to be one unique version of that song at that time. And yeah, for me, that's what live is all about. That you can turn up to a show and you can see not only a unique version of one song, but potentially the majority of their back catalogue. And all you have to do is line up three separate performances and you'll hear the difference that, oh, they all sound nothing like each other. You know, it's all kicking off at different times, but this is the point that also this energy that is going to be part of that live performance, that's what we've got here. Yeah, like I said, the spontaneity, great musicians and, you know, great singers will do that live. They will be able to inject something slightly different just on how they're feeling at that particular time, and that's something that I think that we all do connect with and lock into. So yeah, anyway, this is great because it's rare now that with recent performances I can point out not only one, not only two, but 3 performances of the same song that are totally unedited. So thank you guys for requesting a look at Pearl Jam for tonight. As always, keep those suggestions and requests coming in the comments section below. Let me know what you guys think, and if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys at the next one. Rock!